What's up, everyone? Anyways, welcome back to another Pokemon TCG deck builders. Anyways, to go ahead and get started, we're gonna go ahead and get you a code card. Enjoy. And so yeah, this is my Carbink Brake / Zygarde DX / I guess you can say Mega Lucario deck. This is a completely original deck. I have some cards in here. Obviously, they're from different decks. I did this just for this video because this is the deck I run in expanded tournaments a lot. Now, there's some cards in here I have as substitutions for certain cards, so I'll let you know that. But if I were to run this deck as it is, though, it should be a fine deck, even if I were to give it to my friend, have them run it, or if I were to run it myself and just run it normally. So any cards that are in this video specifically you can use in a tournament as well for this complete deck. But I'll let you know what I would switch those darts out with, preferably if I had the cards on hand, if I had extra ones in there, or if I wasn't swapping them out. But yeah, without any further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get started here. I'll read off the cards first, like always, and then get into the description. So we got Carbink times 3. Carbink Brake times 3. Got a Hoopa EX, Shaman EX times 2, Zygarde times 2, Lucario times 2, Mega Lucario, Fighting Stadium times 2, Pyro Memory, Fighting Furry Belt times 2, Professor's Letter, Super Rod, Hypnotoxic Laser times 2, Ultra Ball times 3, Switch times 2, Acrobite times 3, Random Receivers times 4, Pokemon Center Lady, Pokemon Ranger, Pokemon Fan Club, Skyla, Brock's Grit, Lysander times 2, Shauna times 3, Professor Juniper times 3, and Karina times 4, Strong Energy times 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Fighting Energies. So let's go ahead and get started in this deck build. So we run, obviously, 4 Carbink in this deck for many reasons. Carbink, first of all, his ability is Safeguard. Prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon EX. So it's a Pokemon EX shut-off deck. Carbink also has 90 HP, and 4/1 Fighting Energy, and a colorless energy does Power Gem for 40 damage. It's also got 1 retreat cost. Not bad. Now, Carbink is also a good card because it evolves into Carbink Brake. Carbink Brake, obviously, you can use all the previous abilities and attacks from a Brake card. This is one of the few Brake cards I actually use in a deck. Not only now is his HP up to 110, if you were to equip, let's say, Fighting Furry Belt to that, Fighting Furry Belt would make that card now 150 HP, so he's EX level now. He also got a new attack called Diamond Gift for 1 Fighting Energy, does 20 damage. Attach 2 energy cards from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. It's any energy, any of them. That's why we have Strong Energy in here, and also why we have Normal Energy in here. So that's what makes that card good. And it's a fighting deck, so you would want to run Carbink, period. Again, obviously, you run 3 Carbink, and I explained to you guys why you run the 3 Carbink Brakes. Got Hoopa EX for our next card. A Hoopa EX obviously is there for Scoundrel Ring, because we run a pretty hefty amount of EX in here. That many EX compared to the normal side. So you don't have to run Hoopa in this deck. Preferably, you don't have to, you would want to, just for the Zygarde and Lucario, which are the main attackers, but you don't have to. I recommend you do, because of the main attackers being Lucario and Zygarde, and you do run, 4 EX attackers plus a Mega Evolution. So, and it's a good card to have, but again, obviously, it's just there for Scoundrel Ring to grab your Pokemon. 2 Shaman EXs for the draw support from Setup the ability. Now, you can use Sky Return, obviously, and it's be alright, but really we're only using Shaman here for those draw supports. Really good card. That's why it's like a $80 card. 2 Zygarde EXs. Obviously, we got Zygarde EX there for the attacks. and he has 190 HP. Put a Fighting Furry Belt or on him. Now his HP is up in the Mega levels with Fighting Furry Belt. He has obviously 1 fighting energy. He has 3 attacks. So 1 fighting energy does land pulse, 20 damage, plus if there's any standing cards in play, this attack does 20 more damage. So 40 damage more than likely, because there's a lot of stadiums being played right now. Cellstorm, heal 30 damage from your Pokemon. Does 6 damage for fighting in a colorless. For 2 fighting energies and colorless energies, does Land Wrath for 100 damage. But if you got the power memory attached to him, which it would look like this, it's got the same for 2 fighting energies and a colorless energy. It's all cells burn. Discard 3 energies attached to this Pokemon for 200 damage. Now you can swap that out with a Carbink when you do retreat or whatever you need to, or if you could put a our switch that we have in here, so you can use go ahead and use the switch, so you can swap it with Carbink Brake, so you can get the energy back, and that's how you would use that. But yeah, all cells burn, does 200 damage for the actual extra damage that you need, just in case there's a Mega Pokemon out there. So that's why we run Zygarde EX. Lucario EX is similar. He's got 3 attacks. Obviously, we're using it for Missile Jab, for single fighting energy. This attack does... This attack's damage isn't affected by resistance, so it does 30 damage regardless. He's 180 HP. You're also using it for Sorcerer Smash, which is a really good card. For 60 damage, for 2 fighting energies, you may draw up to 6 cards in your hand. Real good cards, basically a Shaman, kind of. And now for 3 fighting energies, you got Somersault Kick, which does 100 damage. It's a good card. It's a good card to play in general for Expanded. Mega Lucario, obviously. We don't have a Spirit Link because there was never any Spirit Links made for it. But we have Mega Lucario in here for the attack. Rising Fist. For 3 fighting energy, does 140 damage. 220 HP, so he's pretty beefy. Discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Pretty good. It's a pretty good attack. So... he's the last resort Pokemon, too. You don't really want to use Lucario EX, Mega Lucario EX, unless you have to. But it's a good card, because you're going to be losing that turn, but that's why we have it there. Fighting Stadium, it's pretty standard in an expanded format right now for fighting Pokemon. The attacks of each fighting Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent, do 20 more damage to this fighting EX Pokemon EX before applying weakness resistance. So it's a pretty good card in general by adding more damage. Power memory, obviously, I just explained to you guys, it gives Zygarde an extra attack for 200, and on top of that, it can only be placed on Zygarde EX, and it also counts as a tool. Fighting Furry Belt. Fighting Furry Belt is a good card. Not only does it increase the HP of your Pokemon by 40, and it also does 10 more damage for each attack. So it's a really good card. It's also a tool, and it's there for those multiple reasons. Now, I'm not sure if I can run Float Zone in this deck, so bear with me. I don't think I do, but if you want to run Float Zone, you can too, but you don't have to, because I believe you run Switch, and Switch will be a good card to counter that if you don't have any Float Stones. I think the reason why I don't run Float Zone in here is because of those tool cards to begin with. So we got Professor's Letter in here, obviously, for the emergency energy. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy to reveal them, put it in your hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. Super Rod. Super Rod's a good card, obviously, for multiple reasons. For the just in case if you need your energies or your Pokemon, shuffle 3 cards, and any combination of 3 of Pokemon or basic energy cards from discard pile into your deck. So you can grab cards you need if just in case Carbink's dead, because Carbink allows you to get your energy, right? Hypnotoxic Laser. Now, that's a card you don't hear very often in Standard because it's not in Standard. You used to hear it a lot back in the day when it was Standard last year. Unfortunately, Hypnotoxic Laser has been rotated out of Standard, but it is Expanded still. And Hypnotoxic Laser is just kind of a deck card. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is asleep. It's a stall card, and it's also there for you to get extra damage. and sit poison, why wouldn't you run at least 2 of them in your deck? You preferably would run 4, but I only have 2, so that's why we run 2. Ultra Ball, your main source of getting Pokemon. Obviously, discard 2 cards from your hand. If you can't, discard those 2 cards and you can't play this card, shuffle your deck from search your deck for 2 Pokemon, reveal them, and put it in your hand, shuffle the deck afterwards. It's our main source of getting Pokemon like Hoopa or Mega Lucario if you need it at that point. Switch, since we don't run Floatstone, Switch is a good card. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Switch is a good card in general. Just once your Pokemon like Zygarde or Lucario is powered up, you just swap it with Switch and boom. So if you got power memory, you just swap it with Carbink, boom, with Switch, boom. It's an overall good card in a deck to have in your deck if you don't have Floatstone. Here's one of the cards I was talking about that is pretty much a substitute. I don't have enough Trainer's Mails. I only have enough for the other decks, and the 3 Acrobites here are basically a Trainer's Mail substitute. Now instead of 4, it's 2, and you got to discard one of the cards instead. So look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose one of them, discard the other card. It's basically for an acceleration deck, and it's for consistency. It's the same thing as a Trainer's Mail. Only difference is it's any card, and you're not just looking for trainers, but also you can only look at 2 cards, and you have to discard one. Whereas Trainer's Mail is looking at your cards, top 4 cards of your deck, reveal it, put it in your hand, shift your deck afterwards. So if I did have more Trainer's Mail, and more than likely, if I were to run this deck in a tournament, I would swap it out with Trainer's Mail. But if you're going to run this deck the way it is meant to be, it could be played in that specific way. Because it's a good card in general. You can use it like that. Random Receiver is another one of the cards that I put in here for a substitute. And that's for, obviously, VS Seeker. Unfortunately, I don't have any more VS Seekers. They're all used in my other decks. But if you were to use it in this deck, it would work. So if you were to take it to a tournament, it would work. Because Random Receiver, it's a very underrated card. It's a lot better card than what most people say. But Random Receiver allows you to search from the top of your deck. You can't just search your deck, but go from the top of each card to look for a supporter card. Reveal it and put it in your hand, then shuffle your deck afterwards. So it's not a bad card. It's a good card. But you can't get the one supporter card that you want. It's just a random supporter card. But it's there, and you can still play it. It's a decent card. Pokemon Santa Lady. This is one of the very few times you'll ever see me put in a healing card in here. Pokemon Santa Lady is a good card for the most part because it heals 60 damage and removes all special conditions to one of your Pokemon. So it's there for that specific reason, mainly for the preventing of any special effects or conditions, but then it also heals 60 damage. So it's a pretty powerful healer. I only run 1 because you only need 1, but and I rarely see me use any healing because healing in Pokemon is not necessarily the greatest thing, but in this deck you can use it for Carbink, so it doesn't knock out. It's a pretty good card there for this deck. Pokemon Ranger. Pokemon Ranger, obviously, it's here for Regice. It's basically the only reason why, and you're wondering, well, why it's the case when you got Carbink Brake. Carbink Brake can't knock out, a Regice, unfortunately. So Ranger is there to knock out the Regice with a EX Pokemon. But you got the switch, so you can swap it out with a Zygarde and knock it out with the Power Cell or whatever you need to do. So that's why we have Ranger here. It's the tech card of the deck. So Pokemon Fan Club, obviously search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, reveal them, put them in your hand, discard. Shuffle your rest of your shuffle your deck afterwards. It's another. We don't run 4 Ultra Balls in this deck, so we need to run another thing to some way somehow get your Pokemon out. And the substitute would be obviously Pokemon Fan Club. I could run another Ultra Ball, but I like running 3 Ultra Balls in 1 Fan Club. Usually 4 Ultra Balls in 1 Fan Club, but in this case, I don't have enough room for 4 Ultra Balls, so this is why we run that. And we run only 3 Ultra Balls instead. Because I don't have enough room in this deck to do that because of Karina. So, and I'll explain why Karina's in this deck. But yeah, this is a very heavily expanded deck. So if you guys are wondering, it's very heavily expanded. So, Skyla, obviously, there. Search your deck for a trainer card, reveal it, and put it in your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. It's there for your emergency. Let's say if you do run Float Zone on this deck, if you it's for your emergency Fighting Furry Belt or Pokemon Professor's Letter or whatever you need. Skyla's there for the emergency trainer. Brock's Grit. Shuffle 6 cards in any combination, 6 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. Obviously, it's there for not decking out, or if Carbink, somehow blown out of proportion, you can't get your energy back. It's there for that reason. Lysander, obviously pretty standard in any deck. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with his or her active Pokemon. It's there for the safeguard and for the knockout or to stall. I don't have enough N, but Shauna is a decent substitute for N. I'd prefer to have Judge since it's 4 cards for both opponents, but I don't have Judge either. So preferably I would swap this out with an N, but Shauna's all right card for an N substitute if you don't have N or any more N. So that's why we run Shauna in this deck. Preferably, like I said, if I were to actually go to a tournament, you would see me swap that out with an N. But if you're playing for fun, Shauna's fine. Shuffle your deck, hand it into your deck, and draw 5 cards. It's a decent draw supporter, and you don't really want to discard any cards in this deck anyway, so that's why you run that. Professor Juniper. You see me running this card. It's an expanded deck. Professor Juniper is the old Sycamore, and it's discard your hand, draw 7 cards. So you don't need to discard cards from this deck, so that's why we're not running so many of them. We're only reliant on 3 of them instead of 4, and Juniper is a decent card for that reason, just for draw support. And the reason why I'm running Juniper instead of Sycamore, obviously, because I have the full art Juniper, and I want to play her, and she's just better looking than Sycamore altogether. I think anyone would agree with me on that. For Karina. So Karina is played in this deck for multiple reasons. You run 4 of them. It's a must in any fighting deck because of its wording. Search your deck for a fighting Pokemon and put it in your in an item card. Reveal them and put them into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So now you can grab an item card and a fighting Pokemon. This is another reason why we don't run more than so many Ultra Balls. Because of Karina. It's because of Karina. So that's why we run Karina in here. There's multiple ways of getting your Pokemon out, but yeah, that's one of the reasons why we don't run so many of them. Strong Energy. Obviously, it boosts the attack of any fighting energy Pokemon, and it becomes 20 more damage. You can't put it in any other Pokemon, so don't worry about that. 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 fighting energies to power up our Pokemon, and obviously you need energies to power up Pokemon. I could swap out, I guess, a couple, maybe an Ultra Ball or something for more energy, but this deck doesn't really consist of needing more than 6, but I might swap that out. I don't know, we'll see. But for now, I like the way the deck is, and so yeah. And I've ran it before, so it is consistent. It does work well, and I think you guys would like it. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for now. Here's a code card. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share if you guys get a chance to. And that is all I have for now, and we'll see you guys later. Peace out. Bye.